Kemaloko wajina botide. Ajida loko wajina bo. Kena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo. Kena siri panyao. Kemaloko wajina bo jwe. Ajida loko wajina bo. Kena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo. Kena siri panyao. Kemaloko wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo jwe. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo jwe. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo jwe. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo baya. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Maloko wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo jwe. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo jwe. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo jwe. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Kemaloko wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo jwe. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Ay katalongo alespeti pasibawe beti baya. Wajina bo jwe. Tena siri panyao. Wala. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo jwe. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo baya. Wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo jwe. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao. Loko wajina bo. Loko wajina bo tena siri panyao.
All right, welcome back to the Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. I want to say Black African Power, family. I want to say ETM Hotel, Dua Aku, Dua Netcha, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Iba E Egungun, Majuba Iba E Elakba, Egungun Kiki, Egungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors because, again, without the ancestors, I wouldn't be here. And all honor and praises to the elders, the real elders. Um, I got brother Eddie Harret, Sean Calfani, uh, on the panel. Sean, you got anything?
Nah, man, let's rock out.
All right. All right. Y'all give me just 1 second. Yeah. Uh, let me do one more thing. Yeah, I was trying to share here. All right. Today's presentation is called Winti. Winti is a you could say African spiritual system that's in North America. All right, I always put a disclaimer out here before I get started. The disclaimer is I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. And that information provided is for the educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research or have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation to shut down, sell, or exchange the terms of the use at my own discretion. Trademark, design rights, copyrights, registers, names, mottos, logos, avatars, or signals, and marks used or cited by this website are the property of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available or adapt changes, improve information as it comes available in the futures. Input wanted changes, additions, deletions, or encourage. Hold on, y'all. All right. This is my Sam. Those that's been following me for a while now. I think this is important. As I learn, we all learn. This is another saying of mine now. Let's get this culture. All right. Winti. Winti is an Afro-Sudanese traditional religion originated in South America and developed in the Dutch Empire. This resulted in the synchronization of the religious belief and practice of the Akan and Dafan slaves with the gods such as Ligba or Lekba, Loko, uh, Isa, or Ayaza. The foundation of Winti is based on three principles. The belief is the supreme creator called Anana Kedyaman Ked Yapun. The belief is the pantheon of the spirits called Winti and the veneration of the ancestors. There is also a belief in Apuku, also known as Apuku, which are anthropomorphic forest spirits. Ampuku can possess people, both men and women, and can also pass itself off as another spirit. Ampuku can also be water spirits and are known in such cases as Watra Ampuku. Winti. The religion is also referred to as a guide for humans for better. Hold on. A religion is also referred to a guide for humans for better humans and family relations, as well as preserving the traditional African heritage despite being stripped off from Africa. Living in harmony with one ancestors and the guardian angels is thought to bring health and prosperity. But the same spirits can cause diseases, ill fortunes if they are disregarded or not provided with the regular offering. All right, before we go more in depth into the Winti spiritual system, I want to go back. I want to touch real brief on Winti, and then we're gonna go dig deeper into Winti and how Winti got started. One of the slides said the synchronization of the Akan and the Fon traditions. That synchronization of both of those spiritual systems or that way of life, that those way of lives created some new spiritual system or a new way of life in South America called Winti. So we're going to go back, and then we'll go back more into the Winti spiritual system. Sudanese was a classical Caribbean plantation society. So we're talking about a place in South America. In the 1650s, English colonists and the Sephardic Jews refuged from Brazil introduced a cultivation of sugar. When the Dutch took over from the British in 1667, 50 sugar plantations were operated. After the cease in the number, after decrease in numbers of estates, Suriname developed into a prosperous colony producing sugar, later coffee, cacao, and cotton. In the 19th century, the value of this product dropped sharply, although sugar exports were more stable. Sudanese are African descendants of Sudanese. So we already know. We just talked about on the other slide. We talked about the European colonists, the Sephardic Jews. These was the first people that came into this area. That was in this area in South America that started creating these sugar plantations. Um, South America were captured by Europeans, especially by the Dutch people from different parts of Africa, such as Angola, Togo, Benin, Ivory Coast, Guyana, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Sierra Leone, uh, Gabon, Cameroon, the Congo, and other parts of Africa. Afro-Sudanese mostly came from an ethnic group such as the Ewe, the Ga, the Dagmi, the Ashanti, the Fanti, and the Fanti, the Ahanti, the Igbo, the Fon, the Dolo, the Takar, the Balamiki, the Bini, the Edo, the Yoruba, the Ambudu, the Mandika, the Wolof, and other ethnic groups in Africa. It is said most of the Africans brought from the Sudanese from Africa by the Dutch were captured mostly from West Africa. So the slide before this slide, we talked about all those different places. Let's go back. They talked about the people was captured in West Africa, some people, West Africa and Central Africa. Then we talked about some of the ethnic groups where we talked about some people from Sierra Leone, Senegal, Ghana, uh, Cameroon, the Congo, Guyana, the Ivory Coast, Benin, Togo. We talked about the different ethnic groups, the Ga Dagmi people, the Ashanti, the Fanti, the Fang, those the Hatis, the Igbo, these people that are from Ghana, the Fang, the Dolo, the Car. Then we talked about some of the Yoruba who was from Nigeria, who is also the neighbors to the people in Togo and Benin, the Mindi people, the Wolof, and etc. But most of the people that came to that region in South America was from West Africa. Predominantly of African people was from West Africa. That was brought to this place in South America by the Dutch to these sugar plantations and these coffee plantations. This captured mostly from West Africa. The Sudanese Creoles or black communities are mixed descendants of enslaved Central and West Africa of the Sudanese Maroons. It is said to be of West African ancestry because in this area in South America, you have what they call runaway slaves. They call the runaway slaves Maroons. So we'll talk about a little bit about these Maroons um, as well in South America. West African ancestry. The Dutch were involved in the slave trade and sold Africans from Africa to the Suriname. It is also said that Suriname became a Dutch colony and a slave colony that African captures as slaves from African Suriname were forced to labor on coffee and sugar plantations of the Dutch and other Europeans. So the British and the Sephardic Jews were there first, and then the Dutch came much later. The Dutch traders preferred West African slaves mainly because the weather conditions and the new colony were very similar to West Africa, meaning that the captured people could adapt easily, and that they were mentally and physically stronger and could work for longer hours and hardly fell asleep. So this was the reason why um, they captured more of, or they targeted more people from West Africa than any other places. But you had people that was from Central Africa who also that was captured and brought to these plantations also. Winti of Suriname has its roots from what is now present day Benin and present day Ghana. Even though Winti practice in Suriname, it is a combined of the Akum spiritual. It is combined with the Akum spirituality of the Akan and the Voodoo it's supposed to be spirituality of the Ewe and the Fon people. So you got the people that are from Togo and Benin who will practice a tradition or a spiritual system or a way of life or the way of the ancestor or a religion, whatever you want to encase it up under. The people in Togo and Benin practice what they call voodoo or voodoo. Then you have the people in Ghana, the Akan people, which may be the Ashanti, the Ahanti, uh, etc., etc. These people practice a tradition or a way of life or a religion or African spirituality or African traditional religion called a kumi. So these two people that was targeted in West Africa out of Ghana and out of Togo and out of Togo and Benin. These people practice two different traditions. So they synchronized both of their traditions once they was captured and they was brought to South America to work on these sugar plantations and these coffee plantations by the Dutch. Okay, let's talk real briefly about the Akum system for people that may not know what the Akum system is and what the Voodoo system is. I also have in this present I'm not in this presentation, but at the bottom of the links in the description box, I have well, I actually have four presentations. Four presentations after you get through looking at this. You can go deeper into the Akum system by the people in Ghana. It's a presentation that I did on my own platform called Kofi Piesie TV. You can just click the link at the bottom and it'll take you directly to that presentation if you want more information. I got another presentation on there from Kofi Piesie TV in the bottom of the description link that'll take you straight to that presentation that deals with the voodoo if you want more understanding or go deeper into the voodoo tradition. And then I also have two more links at the bottom that's take you straight to the links on this page. This deal with I did two presentations called African Spirituality, African Religion, African Spirituality, the how and the why, the concepts of the how and the why. So it explained the concepts of these spiritual systems or this religious or way of life. And I mentioned this spiritual system, Winti, in the uh, African religion, African spirituality, the concept of how and why. However, it is part one and part two. It's two presentations where I had to break it down. So I just put those in there so you can go back and look at those videos or review these videos after you get through looking at this, and go down those lists of those spiritual systems, which we're gonna soon go into each one of those spiritual systems and I hope get away from using the term African spirituality and just call these systems by its indigenous name. But the Akum, which means possession. Akum means possession. It is the Fanti religion institution by they serves to meditate between the bosoms or the natural gods. The bosoms is the same things like we talk about Ifa a lot. We talk about the Orishas or natural gods, and the community as a whole. The Abusums are believed to have been created by a supreme god, Iyami, who, although not worshipped directly, is thought to have created the world and mankind as it failed to be the omnipresent and the omnipotent. Fanta animism recognizes numerous Abusums that are believed to watch over the activities of humans and to be punished those who act, excuse me, on the contrary to the customs of society. The bosoms are conceived of as living in objects and the inner environment. So this is where you get the word animism from. A lot of times you will see this word thrown around when it deals with our traditions or our way of life or our customs or our spirituality. The bosoms are conceived as the living in objects in the environment, such as trees, stones, wells, or streams, and those objects is turn serves as their shrines. Although our bosoms are viewed as having broad ranges, powers of these spirits has its his or her own areas and contents and jurisdictions: fertility, warfare, agriculture, general protection to the community. A priest exists in the Fanta community to serve as an intermediary between humans and the Oboozums. The priesthood consists of individuals, both males and females, although the Unabi women are in the majority. And I'm going to post something later on those women in the Mossi like page either today or tomorrow, who have been possessed by a deity and thus called into service. They are called the Akufu, the possessive ones. Their calling is followed by by 3 to 5 year apprenticeship with a senior priestess, during which they learn about the characters of their deities, about herbal medicines, and how to dance for the Akum ceremony. So this is just a brief little information about the Akum system before we go more into the Winti, because again, the Akum system wouldn't have been formed if it was. The Winti system wouldn't have been formed if it wasn't for the Akum system or for the Voodoo, the Voodoo system. Voodoo is practiced by the U people of the eastern and southern Ghana, the southern and central Togo, and the Gabi people, Jing speaking people, and the Fan people of southern and central Togo and southern and central Benin. Voodoo means spirit or deity. Again, Voodoo means spirit or deity. Again, Voodoo means spirits or deity. I talk about this in the presentation that I already did dealing with voodoo. But again, it means spirit or it means deity or the essence of the creator. And voodoo in West Africa involves from an ancient tradition of ancestral worship and animism. The southern Benin culture area of the Fangan, Mian, and U people is characterized by a similar conception of divinity, belief in the existence of the God in general. The God recognized as the supreme being, as a transcendent, and referred to by the term of Mahu. For the people, Southern Benin, Mahu is good, but he does not concern himself directly with man. Same thing as the Akum and most of the traditions. He is the omnipotent, but has a delegate of powers, the Voodons. You had in the Akum system, you had the Aboozums, and in the Voodoo system, which are the lesser deities, are the Voodons. Hence, the Voodons, recognized by the Mahu creatures, according to the Von expressions, Mahu, we do, Voodoo Li, or Mahu, representative among men, signs of the divinity in masses in response to the spiritual desires in mankind. In this sense, Voodoo designated all that is sacred, all powerful, coming from the invisible world to influence the world of the living. Everything that is mystery, from the reason it is explicit, distinct from Mahu. So I wanted to give a little bit of information about the Voodoo spiritual system and the Akom spiritual system. Because again, without these two other spiritual systems or way of life, there will be no Winti spiritual system in South America. Okay. I see. He said it free. The Winti tradition religion started almost as soon as West African slaves arrived on the plantation in Suriname. It is, however, saw rampant growth in the 17th century when the Dutch had full control over the land and brought in more Africans to work. In modern time, it is popular referred to as the Afro-Sudanese religion of a pure African origin that has carried on to date despite several attempts by the Dutch, British, and other European societies to bring it to an end. Winti is a very unique African religion for several reasons. First of all, it is one of the very few traditional practices to leave the shores of Africa into the diaspora and not only survive but develop into a religion. It is also one of the very few original African religions with no Western religion influence. The living conditions in the plantations were miserable during the period, resulting in a frequent rebellion, strikes, or suicide. So previous slide we talked about the Maroons. The Maroons are those Africans that was captured and brung in and rebelled and fought back against the Dutch and escaped and um, went off into the forest. And in 1770, some say that the gods of the Winti helped the enslaved Africans flee from the plantation. And Saturday was considered as a spiritual watchful night. Singing and dancing was held by the enslaved Africans until the late into the night as a sign of revolt, and 5,000 to 6,000 Maroons or runaway slaves were living in the jungle. After waging protracted guerrilla warfare, they established several independent societies in the interior. The Saramaki, the Dauki, also known as the Akan, the Paramakis, the Bani, also known as the Alukis, the Matawai, or the Kiwinti, or the Kawintis, are classified as a form Maroon tribes or ethnic groups in Syria. So these are different or several different Maroon tribes that formed once they escaped those sugar plantations and coffee plantations ran by the Dutch in South America. Slaves was not abolished until 1863, after 10 years transition periods in which ex-slaves had to perform paid works on the plantation. Contract laborers for Asians were imported to replace them. Between 1873 and the end of World War I, 34,304 immigrants from the British Indies, the Hindu Stannies, arrived, and the second flow of immigrations came from the Dutch East Indies, bringing almost 33 Javanese contracted laborers between 1890 and 1839. The ideal was that the Asian immigrants would return to their homeland as soon as their contracts had expired, but most remained. Some of these ethnic groups are currently well represented. Others are such as the Armenians, and the Armenians are the people who are presumed to have been there before the Europeans have arrived. Thin out African colonizations due to displacement from the territory, society, economics, and political marginalization, diseases, and more recently the Civil War that took place from 1986 to 1991. The number of Europeans reduced as a result of the decline of prosperous of the plantation. Now in Suriname, or in this particular place in South America, you have a multiply of different groups. You have the Asians who are there and still there. You have the Hindu people who are still there. You have the Armenian people who was there before the Europeans got there. You have the Africans from Central and West Africa who's there, and you have some Arabs who are there who came later on to work in the workforces there. So I wanted to share that information and just brief information in South America in this place before we get more back into the Winti uh, uh, religion. By the 1900s, the Maroons in the Suriname had begun to fight for their land rights to protect territories which they had long occupied, according to Kiku's accounts of the Afro-Surinese people. The art of the Maroons, they are descendants of runaway enslaved Africans. They form rainforests. Their arts include stools for men, stools for women, also known as the umbanji, African pick cones, wooden paddles, and decorated houses. Maroons are previously mentioned descendants of slaves who escaped from the plantation and who resettled inland, often next to the Armenians. Their African culture and religion changed during slavery. When different evangelizations attempts were made, these attempts were not very successful due to the lack of money and missionaries. Christianity has therefore not replaced their tradition, culture, and religion. After the runaways, this culture and religion had the chance to incorporate some Armenian elements. These elements are not only related, and these are the people. Well, the Armenians again are the people who had been there before the Europeans arrived and before the Africans arrived. Like the cultivations of cassava, yams, or sweet potatoes, but also the custom of practice like cultivating and smoking tobacco and wearing certain clothes, to the language and to use of healing powers of medical plants. This mix of social religious cultures with the Afro-Sudanese origin is called Winti. Winti literally means spirit or invisible energy. Winti literally means wind, spirit, or invisible energy. That's what Winti means. And you look up the word spirit, you have the word wind in there. And the belief itself among the practitioner, the religion is also known by the term of Kofu. So you have the term Winti, and you have the term that also they use is Kofu or Oba, which used to define both healing spirits and supernatural medicines or objects. Winti is also based in the existence of spirits which are strongly interconnected and related to the past, present, and future. All these spirits belong to one of the following three categories. The soul. It is believed that the human beings has three spiritual aspects: the Dio, the Kra, and the Yorka. Through these aspects, human beings are integrated into the supernatural world. The Dio are the supernatural parents who protect the children. In entering the body of the newborn baby with the first cry, and may be higher or lower spirits. They receive the pure soul, the Kra, from Anana, and give that to the child. The Kra and the Dio determines your reason and mentality, while the biological parents provide blood and the physical body. The Yorka, the spirit of the deceased person, the other spiritual part, observes the life experiences after death, and the physical body, the Kra, goes back to the Dio, and the Yorka goes into the realm of the dead. So these are the three parts of the three aspects of the soul according to the Winti spiritual system. Um, what's this? Ika one. If I always say, I don't know if it's your first time on the platform, ma'am, but if your first thing on the platform, I always say Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Iwa Pele. That means bring forth good character. You know what I'm saying? Uh, So please, on this platform, all that other foolishness, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all, or just don't watch. And again, we are talking about a spiritual system. You see what I'm saying? We're talking about it. We're not trying to spook anybody out. So again, if you don't want to watch it, if you're not interested in the information, please just remove yourself off the platform. But again, if you want to watch it, watch it. But on this platform, we don't do any of that foolishness. You can go to those other platforms. They love that over there. But over here, we're gonna deal according to our ancestors of what they try to cultivate, and that's good character. Anana is the main good and creator, but you can only reach him through his lesser gods. There are four groups of lesser gods: gods of the earth, gods of water, gods of the forest, and gods of the air and wind. Asa, mother of the earth, is the highest of the considered closest of Anana, which is why at most winter rituals and prayers begin with the offerings of Odu to Asa, hoping that she will intervene on your behalf regarding many issues such as healing, protection, and general blessings. Hold on, I went back. Okay. Here is one of the most common prayers of Asa, which everyone in Suriname has heard on many occasions as the following: Mama Asa, Gorunu Winti, Goronko Gada, are peaking again. Excuse me for mispronouncing these words, if I'm mispronouncing some of them. Suku Yipi, Mother Asa, Spirit of the Earth, God of the Earth, your children are seeking your help. This prayer is often accompanied by sprinkles of the Odu offerings to the earth, usually some strong alcohol drinks. Now, going back, we're talking about Asa. Again, you have the creator according to the Winti spiritual system or way of life or African tradition religion, whatever you encase it under, she is the main creator. And she has four groups. Again, the lesser deities, like again, if you talk about the Ifa tradition, the lesser deities would be the Orishas. The Akan traditions, the Akum, it would be the bosoms. According to the Voodoo or the Voodoms, it will be the Voodoo, the people in Haitian. The Voodoo, it will be the uh God, I forgot exactly what they call it. Or you North America. I mean, I remember that North Africa it will be the Netruz according to the Kimatu or the Remich. So you have four again, you have the lesser gods, you have the god of the earth, god of the water, the god of the forest, and the god of the wind. And Asa would be the god of the earth or the mother of the earth. And she is the closest to the creator. So this is why they would do certain prayers and do certain offerings according to their tradition and pour strong alcohol, which is not new to African tradition, which is pouring libation. So here's an offering to the earth. Here, put your offering to the earth. The pantheons, the four pantheon groups, the Earth pantheon with the Karun Winti. The second, the water pantheon, is the Water Winti. The third forest pantheon is Busa Winti. The fourth sky pantheon is the Tapu Winti. Certain categories of the Maroons also distinguish a fifth pantheon, the Ram of the Dead, Ram of the Death. Earth pantheon is Asa, again, who is closer to Nana. You know what I'm saying? And it's four pantheons. Again, you have Earth, you have the forest, you have, excuse me, the rain and so forth. Asa, Loco, Legba, Fudu, Lagu, Gora, Iji. The water pantheon, you have Wacha, Inji, Wantra, Cromanti. The forest pantheon, Busi, Inji, Ampuki, which is Ampuki, Kantasa, and Andumakuma. The sky pantheon, Opete or Tata, Aniki Ya, Sofa Bada, Awisi, Alidi, Gizari, Tando, Gibre, Ajani. One can often witness a Winti prayer, which is a ritual prayer ceremony accompanied by drummers, where you can see participants get in a trance and perform supernatural acts such as dancing barefooted on broken glass or hot coals, eating glass or more without any physical damage or cuts to the skin. They cover their bodies with pemba dati, pimba dati, a white clay powder, which is familiar in a lot of other African traditions as well as covering the body with this certain type of white ash, which they believe bring them closer to the gods or the Winties. And here I have an example over here where it talks about, you will see most of the tradition talks about these different prayers and these different ceremonies that the practitioners go through, and they get in this trance and they believe to have this becoming this supernatural state. So during these ceremonies, you will see them walking on glass, you'll see them walking on hot coals, you know what I'm saying, eating glass. So I wanted to show like a different ceremony in South America, uh, where they are actually performing these things in real time. Not gonna show all of it. Just wanted to kind of show part where they was doing the ceremony, where the guy was walking on the fire or the hot coals, putting hot coal wood on their backs, walking on glass, swimming through glass. This is just another picture here doing a winter ceremony. Um, where they walking on, where they playing with fire, walking on fire, and etc. Winter is present in a daily life of the Sudanese. It provides the answer to all the problems and explains roots and diseases, and the problems arise from daily activity. Winti has a strong influence on people's daily behavior, experiences, social networks, and financial situation. Its spirits or Winties acts for specific rituals, ceremony, prayers, offering tools, symbols, and herbs in order to detect pleasure, evoke, and exorcise. Excuse me. Some people possess supernatural power. They are able to communicate with spirits by means of trances. This is according to the Winter practitioners. Trances and certain rituals. This can be done by, for example, asking the Winties about the cause of the problems, or by asking advice, help, or guidance in curing people from their physical or metaphysical diseases. These people are therefore powerful reasons in the community. Different denominations are given to them according to the powers and ability they possess. Some discards found in the precise domination of these specialists. The terms is Oba man, Dressy man, Luca man, Bona man, or Winty man are all used as a person who is able to cure others from certain metaphysical diseases using Winty. This is to say by consulting the spirits about treatments, methods, tools, plants, and other ingredients needed. So we're going to get into what is an Oba man, a Dressy man, a Luke man, a Banu man, and a Winty man. They all play a specific role in the Winti's tradition. An Oba man is a person able to make protection, amulets, obtain drinks, objects, uh, uh, etc. The dressy man cures people mainly by using medical plants. The word dressy literally means medicine. A Luki man is a type of diviner, a person capable to see what the problem is and where it is organized. We see this Luki man and a lot of the tradition, those different diviners who they consult for certain things. In other words, this person is able to provide, when we see the Obo man too, who makes amulets, protection amulets, and etc. Dressing man as well. These are common things and a lot of other African traditions. Other words, this person is able to provide a diagnosis. The word Oba roughly translates to supernatural medicine. Uh, Describes Oba as part of a power that dwells in the universe and has become available to humans. The Winties are not only involved in the curing people, but can also be used to inflict harm. Evil spirits or black magic, Wisi, are one of the biggest fears of the Sudanese society, especially among the in Dauki Maroons. For the Indauki Maroons, Wisi is used to explain tragedies and disappointment in life, and Wisi that is the main cause of death. A wissy man is also so-called a witch, a man or a woman who has supernatural abilities to harm or kill someone. Plants plays a central role within the Winti religion. Plant species harvests and pseudonyms are used for sacred prayers, offering, exorcism, rituals, and healings. Uh, Plants, yes, is a central role to the Winti tradition or spiritual system. Um, this is how they make a lot of their money. We'll talk about how they make a lot of money with a lot of these herbs. You have a lot of different ethnobotany. If I'm The people that deal with plants and etc. You have these certain Europeans who came into South America and to observe a lot of the Winti priests. A lot of the Winti priests, who they call the botany man or the Luke man, these are the people that actually have mastered certain herbs. So they use these certain herbs in certain rituals to heal, to for heal you, for prayer, to get out bad spirits and etc., which we'll talk about with them using certain herbs. And these botany men, these Europeans who came in to study and live with some of the practitioners and some of the priests, studied, I think over 246 plants by certain priests. They went in a certain different list small areas where they study with some of these Winti priests and was trying to understand why they were saying some of these plants was magical and why these plants was the central of their religion or their spirituality. And like I said, they studied all these 246 species or all these 246 different plants and why each plant or why they associate a different spirit with a different plant. Like I talked to you about the different pantheons, the fire, not the fire, but the sky, the water, the forest, and the earth pantheons. These lesser deal, these different pantheons, and I gave you certain names. These certain pantheons has the same, they say has the same characteristics as some of these plants. And they again they deal with these plants, they make their economics, they make money off these plants, they survive off these plants, they heal off these plants, with certain sicknesses that may go on in the society. They pray with certain types of plants, they offer certain type of plants to the ancestors, they sacrifice with certain types of plants. They do certain rituals with certain types of plants. So it is the main focal of this way of life. Each Winti priest has has his own special Winties, often called Obas. These Oba spirits are the ones who give Winti priests their supernatural power and the relevant information needed for their specific treatment. Tubes, and this is one of a famous Winti priest here. His name is Vodou, and Vodou was one of the first Winti priests that some of these European botanists came in to study with, to understand these different types of plants. And again, they went in and he showed them 240 something different species of plants and why they use certain types of plants, and he showed certain types of ingredients that they use with these certain types of plants. Tubs with herbal baths can be found in front of every house. A various herbal baths have different purposes, varying from very specific, more general application. Herbal plants standing in front of the houses are often used in the morning and reassurance your own spirit or yi or kra. Again, the kra is the soul. Others made especially for certain treatments and specific ingredients are only used under specific circumstances and treatments. Herbal baths plays a central role in Winti. They are being used for many purposes. The traditional healers give their patients a wasi, which is a ritual bath. And again, the other slide talks about in majority of the houses, you will see these tubs outside majority of these houses. So they do these certain types of uh, baths. They mix up certain types of plants. It's not the same types of plant. It's just according to what type of bath that you are getting, that they use a certain type of plants and certain types of ingredient to mix that they bathe with. With the ritual bath again is called the wasi. The wasi ritual bath to heal magical diseases, make their bodies accessible for good spirits, chase away bad ones, cleanse their souls, restore their balance with their dio, which is one aspect of the soul. Again, the soul is broke down into, according to the Winti spiritual system, broke into three parts. The dio, the guardian angel, or protected them against black magic or violence in others to diagnose a supernatural illness that tries to call the spirits bothering the patterns by alternating different lead baths. Once the person fails into trance and the spirit starts to talk, the healer knows that he has chosen the right herbs and continue asking the spirit what was wrong and how the healing ceremony should proceed. Other techniques including lighting candles, holding um, patents, patient hands, and trying to diagnose the problem by singing and praying. Each Winti priest has his own Winti's Oso. The Winti Oso means literally the Winti house. Ritual, it is a temple, a holy place where all magic objects needed for the Winti rituals are stored. It is a temple neither evil spirits nor people with bad intentions are able to enter. Therefore, it is a safe place where the Winti priest and all his holy objects. So this is I just put a little piece, a little house here, uh, where one of the Winti priests is. This actually is a house of one of the famous Winti priests, my uh Madu. And here's one of your well, he have a few tubs out here that he uses for those spiritual baths, and these are some of the instruments and stuff that he used to mix up those different types of plants that he have studied and mix them up for certain remedies. Winti is a lucrative business. Winti is one of the driving forces behind the medical in the Suriname. Again, it is the main focal point or the central point of the Winti religion is these different plants. In 2016, more than 50% of the species, 139 out of 247, sold at the medical plant market at Barra Maribo, had one more application in the ancestors' rights, herbal baths, and or protectives. Obas, many traditional healers did their shopping at the herbs markets. Winties are a lucrative business and is in particular for those religious specialists who administer herbal purification baths for tourists. They also make their money when the tourists come in. they perform these purification baths on them as well by mixing up certain types of herbs or certain types of plants. In 2006, Winti specialists charged diaspora tourists around US $300 to a local villagers using $150 for the elaborate herbal baths with more than 10 different herbs, perfumes, alcohols, accompanying prayers. Some traditional healers specialized in a ritual preparation of drugs runners before they took on their flights, making the cargo untraceable for the customs officers by using magical plants. Moreover, about 55 kilograms of herbal medicine is shipped annually to the Netherlands. Market survives in the Netherlands revealed 30% of the plants sold were used for winter purposes. Apart from plants, shops and market stalls also sold varieties of non-vegetable magical ingredients such as traditional costumes, colored candles, essential oils, perfumes, Ricketts blue cubes, Pimba, sacred white clay, oil coins, rusty nails, corks, bird feathers, animal bones, and papa money, which is cowrie shells, which are what you see throughout all African tradition. It didn't say uh, um, what's they like to what they like to say what they like to use stones
Crystal.
crystals, yeah, crystals. So you don't see crystals. And again, I'm not knocking crystals. I'm just saying we got this
I
stop.
am. It ain't no. It's not in any Yoruba worship or
It's,
Ifa worship or
no,
none of that. It's,
no, you're right. It's not in a lot of it. And but I'm just saying I'm not knocking it, but we have people tend to associate crystals and stones with a lot of these African traditions. A lot of times, if you watch a lot of the Mossi.
neither is tarot cards.
Yeah, you're right, you're right. Tarot cards neither. So a lot with if you pay attention to what we doing, we showing you in a lot of these presentations, the different methods that they use, and see tarot cards. You don't hear us talking about chakras. You don't hear them talking about crystals and etc. You know what I'm saying? So we got to stop associating those Hindu and Indian cultures with our own culture. For many years, the Dutch tried every means possible to stop Winti from developing and beginning being practiced. They labeled as a black magic or were afraid of the dark rituals performed during the drumming and dancing ceremony. And throughout time immemorial, I don't care where you at, they labeled our culture, our way of life, the way of the ancestors, our African spirituality, our African traditional religion as dark, you know what I'm saying, as evil, as primitive, um, and etc. And they always was scared when we got around each other and we would sing and we would dance, uh, and we would have the drums out there, etc. So you would see them banding all over the world, uh, where we were, where they have forced and taken us, try to ban these certain types of ceremonies, ban singing, ban the drums, and etc. Enslaved Africans caught in the practice were often severely warned, punished, or beaten, and some were forced to convert into Christianity. But these measures did not prevent the Africans from practicing their faith. From then, it was a peaceful demonstration and resistance of westernization. Between 1874 and 1971, after the abolishment of slavery in Suriname, Winti traditional religion was banned as it was declared a demonic cult practice, and that's what they do to all of it. This ain't just Winti. You know what I'm saying? It was all our traditions that they accounted us practicing. You know what I'm saying? They banned. They said it was demonic and their way of life. Come and join their way of life. Christianity was the way of life. The Arabs said that Islam was the right way of life, and our way of life was wrong and primitive and demonic. This is nothing new. Practice and the taboo associated with uneducated and third class citizen Africans was forced to convert into Christianity, to speak Dutch, and to abandon their African traditions, belief, and practice. This is nothing new. They convert you, They strip you of a thorough knowledge of yourself or your native tongue and replace it with their native tongue. You know what I'm saying? With their beliefs, their way of life, and etc. Sutek said African Hindus. The religion was secretly practiced and was able to survive the ban until Suriname gained independence in 1975 and when the ban was lifted. Today, the religion remained in its original state. Free from Western influence, it will be most interested to be known how the founders of the religion was able to blend some many tradition practice to become one strong religion of resistance. Uh, that was it. That's the end of the presentation. I hope y'all got something out of the presentation. My main thing was I want to try to do is continue to enlighten or bring forth some information on these different traditions. Again, we talk about African spirituality. I know a lot of people use the word African spirituality, but again, like I said, African spirituality is a term that was coined by the diaspora Africans. Um, and we took that term because we had no sense of what part of Africa we come from. So we didn't know what type of tradition or spiritual system or custom or religion or way of life or the way of the ancestors. We had no clue about it. So I'm trying to bring forth a lot of different systems. We talked about the Winti. The next one might be about the people in the Senegambia, the Fataru spiritual system. Then I already got again 2 links down if you want to talk about, if you want to know about the Akom, or you want to know about that's in Ghana, the spiritual system, or the Voodoo spiritual system, or Voodoo spiritual system in West Africa, in Togo, Benin, and in Haiti, or how it ended up in Haiti. I already have that. Also, I'll be doing some on the Ngami, which is the Zulu tradition. I'll be doing something. I already did something with the Gulu, Wankulu. People in East Africa are already their tradition of the Gulu, Wankulu, or the Iyami tradition already. So I wanted to just briefly touch about the Winti tradition, how it ended up in South. Well, it's this new African religion uh, that started in South America by 2 West African traditions, the Akum and the Voodoo system, synchronizing each other, synchronizing or merging together, and forming a new religion for these Africans on a new geographical location in
You
South
meant you
South
meant
America.
South you meant South America, right? Cause you
Yeah,
said
South
Africa.
America. What did I say?
You said Africa.
Oh, South America. Excuse me. I'm flipping the tongue. But I hope some people enjoyed the presentation, got something out of it. And again, we're not trying to spook anybody out, and I wasn't trying to be mean. If the sister's still on here, peace and blessings to you,
You
Mika
ain't got
One.
to apologize
Yeah.
to the Hebrew sister.
Oh, spook. Oh, well, I'm apologize, man. I ain't that mean. I mean, I
Nah, you
wasn't
ain't got to
trying to be
apologize to Mika.
mean.
She been tripping the last few days.
Is
Yeah,
oh
yeah, do
yeah.
all that.
But like I said again, I hope y'all enjoy the presentation. Try not to keep y'all too long with the information. I could have added some more information. I kind of found this
You gonna take some questions from them in the chat?
yeah,
It
and
look,
yeah,
it
and
look like we got
anybody
some people in the chat that want to say something.
yeah, anybody got any questions, man? Got anything to say, man? And shout out to Sister Kayla Sykes, peace, sister, peace to Agun Balayi, peace, LB, peace, sister. My name is Jade, Rakim 777, Queen Nubia, Noble Green, peace to my good brother Sutek. What's up?
Jay
Peace.
said she want an apology. I ain't apologizing to Jay, man.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
nah. I heard that the sister Kayla, she was in an accident yesterday, man. So I hope she doing well.
Yeah. Hope you're
Yeah,
doing well,
I heard
sir.
that. I don't think a lot of people knew that though. So
Yeah, you okay, sir?
Sorry to put your business in the street.
Yeah, you want to go on off that yak with your sister Kayla? Yeah. But yeah, anybody got any questions, man?
You know the chat behind.
Yeah, I'm looking in here. Uh, Miss J said the conscious community is Hinduism. Yeah, there's a lot of Hinduism in the so-called conscious community. Yeah, I'm looking in here trying to see. I don't see no questions in here. The cry is the in the Akan word for concept. Yes, yeah, it is. Sutek. Uh,
Should we do away with the Akumi system today, knowing that we have the freedom of our spiritual beliefs and practices from old? Should we restore the authenticity of our of the real practices and get rid of the Akumi or Lukumi and all of those new age offsprings of Ifa?
hmm. I don't think so. I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. I don't think so. I think the only thing that they need to remove when you dealing with some of those, the Kundambala, the Luke, those other
So
different.
so you don't have a problem with them still hiding the names of the true Orishas behind Catholic names
Yeah. That's the
and
only thing.
incorporating the Catholic
Yeah, right.
symbols?
That's the only thing I was gonna get to was the synchronism of Christianity in it. But and I understand why they did what they did at a certain time, but we no longer in those times, so they don't have to hide those different patrons, Christianity patrons, uh, you know what I'm saying, behind the Orishas or other certain lesser deities in the African custom and tradition. That's the only thing that I have. We don't have to do that today, but I wouldn't say just throw away what they got. Just remove the Christianity aspect of it because you no longer are on the plantations anymore where you can hide it. You can practice. It's not banned anymore. You can practice these things out in the opening now. And then like even with the Winti, these guys synchronized both of their religions and came up with their own way of life on a different or on a foreign location than where they was from. And then again, these people wanted to become one and not be separate because you got people that was from Central Africa that was also there. They spoke many different other languages. You know what I'm saying? And you had people from West Africa. You had the Akan people. The Akan people, you know what I'm saying? You may have some of the Hatti people, the Ashanti um, people, and etc. Because the Akan people is a variety of large ethnic groups. So these people spoke different languages. You have the people from Togo and Benin who also speak, different languages as well. So these people came together, formulated their own, took their customs and beliefs, formed and merged it together. You know what I'm saying? Which again, they mirror each other anyway, because you have, when you look at, that's why I broke down the Akum and I broke down the Voodoo or the Voodoo system. You have Mahwu, who is the creator of the Voodoo. You have Nana, who is the creator of the Akum system. Then you have a hierarchy. Then you have a low. You have the creator. Then you have these lesser deities. You have the Abusums with the Akum. You have the Winties with the Winti tradition. And you see this through other African traditions as well. This hierarchy of God, these lesser deities. Then you got the lesser deities. Then you have the ancestors worship, ancestors veneration, and etc. So all of it wasn't too far from them besides the language. So they created their own languages, and a lot of them created their own language because a lot of them escaped the plantation and went off into the forest. So you had people that were still there on the plantation, and you had people that was in the forest that became maroons, and they fought and revolted every time against the Europeans, and it even became feared. All these different names of maroons, they was practitioners of Winti, but they had their own languages, and etc. So this is my own personal opinion. I think we shouldn't get rid of. Our only thing they should throw in the trash or in the garbage is the synchronization of Christianity into
But if you get rid of that portion of Christianity, then you have to go back and go into the traditional ways of everything that's going on. So
mm,
at some point, you would have to abandon the whole system because it's heavily influenced by the Catholic Church, and
yes,
all the way down to some of the rituals, and the color schemes and all of that. It's a whole lot that's behind it that needs to be dealt with. So that's why I say this. So if we're going to rid ourselves of the influence of Christianity and the Catholic Church and these names, we just need to go all the way back to its traditional way of life. Because right now we playing. You know what I mean? We got brothers and sisters that's playing in that, and then they want to be like, well, I'm studying Ephi, and you come to find out they studying the Kumi. You know what I mean? They're not really, they're not really on the same path. They're doing a remix.
yeah,
So why we still remixing when we got the real deal? You know what I'm
well,
saying? I'm not gonna go down the street and get some re-rock. You know what I'm saying? To sell
you gonna go
when
get that. You gonna go
come
get
on,
that real. You gonna go get.
go exactly. So that's what we doing right now, man. You know what I'm saying? We got our
Oh,
brothers and sisters out here, man, with this re-rock. With a
mm,
whole lot of soda on it. And
mm,
hold on, let me apologize to Jade. She throwing shade right now. Jade throwing shade. Jade, I apologized earlier for my pocket removing you out the chat. The phone was in my pocket. When I pulled my phone out and I noticed that you was timed and removed, I untimed and removed you. That's right, Two Tech. They want that black magic. Come get that black magic, man. Stay away from that blue magic. I mean,
um,
yeah, you want that blue magic. They messing with the black magic, dude around the corner.
yeah,
And Frankie told him, take that soda off that stuff. You ain't got to do all of that.
mm,
Yeah.
um,
Now, I don't see
Rakim,
no other questions, though.
yeah,
Oh, there
that
go
bot.
one.
Hold on, the Rakim 777. His name is Madu. Mawdo. He is a Winti priest. Look him up. It's a big article. I also, matter of fact, before I even go into this, it should
Put
have
the name in the
been.
chat. Put the name in the chat for him, Cole. Type it in there.
All right. Hold on.
Two
I'm
Tech
trying to.
got
Dang,
another
I got
question
my.
behind his question. They got a
Yeah,
question.
hold on. All right, go to Rakim 777. Go to it's a PDF I got on here, and the PDF deals specifically with him and those plants. And that's some of the information I wanted to put in. I wanted to actually put in how scientific this brother is with him writing these different formulas. He was actually teaching these botanists these different formulas on these different ingredients that he was using to from these different plants. You know what I'm saying? These 247 plants that these 247 different species of plants that he had, and he used certain types of ingredients and used certain types of formulas. You know what I'm saying, with the concoction or whatever. It was a pretty interesting PDF. I think it might have been like 30 some pages. What no big thing. It was here. This first one. It's a PDF right here. So when you get a chance, you can go back and you can pause it right here. And this is the source, and it gives you the information of Madu, uh, and he's in a town in South America called Bijistan. And it talks about those different European botanists going into that area and going into other different places and studying to try to come up and see if the Winti priests come up with the same type of formula, why they use certain types of deities for the names of these certain plants, why they use certain types of name. I mean, use these plants for certain rituals. They use them when people get sick. They use them for certain type of thing. All right, man.
All
Um,
right, baby. Yeah, baby. You know what I'm
uh, well, go ahead, Sean. You said somebody else had nothing. Let me leave them pause up. I got my flies all out of order at the
saying?
bottom, at the back. But
So, Jade asked, what language do they speak when they pray? I guess she talking about the Suriname Tongo. Oh, I don't know what she was talking about. And then said, what do y'all think about the racial diversity of EFI and other HERs? First of all, there ain't no racial diversity. EFI is an African system, spiritual system. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. The people that are infiltrating the system, the European, is only doing so because they are studying us, and they want whatever spiritual energy that they can muster up from what we're doing to work for them in favor of them even more, because they're not Christian, they're not Muslim, they're not Buddhist, they're not none of these things, because they know themselves they ain't Jews, they ain't claiming to be Jews or Hebrews or none of that. They want that originality. They want to know what they want to practice and work with the energy in these systems that our ancestors had, because they know how much of a benefit it was then. That is why it was removed from us. So that's why you see them slide into. Now, we the Mossi, we don't rock with allowing them folk to come through like that. Now, do some of them have some legit arguments or some information that can help us here in the diaspora? Of course, because they're over there doing the groundwork. They're over there doing primary research. They're over there writing in their journals and everything like that. And then what they're incorporating that we catch them on, we have caught them and seen where they were trying to incorporate some religious things into that. But most of this stuff is about validation for them, vindication and validation, because they'll try to go and learn in these systems and then come back and try to validate or vindicate the Bible,
mhm.
or whatever they into. And you got something to say about that, Kofi?
Oh no, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I'm agreeing a whole lot of, but yeah, we don't rock over there. We don't rock with myself here. We don't rock with the Europeans. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't have. Oh, you look on my bookshelf, and I don't have these so-called babaluos, these white European babaluos on my shelf. I have quite a few books. Um, honestly, I have read some of the information. I mean, I don't rock with it. I don't condone it, and I everything Sean said, I'm agreeing with wholehearted with. With
Ogumalayi, correct.
yep.
Ogumalayi, spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll never have that Ashe. They don't have the authoritative figure or blessings to have the Ashe. I don't care how much they can try to swagger jack us. They don't. This is the thing about Kemet. When you hear Wujawu say Wujawu talk about the transliterating and translating of the Sesh, he says they do not have what we have because of our experiences. They can't understand, like our lingo, for instance. We here in the Americas, they try to say Ebonics is what we taught. But culturally, we have always transcended wordplay, and we can make it mean so many things. So when you hear Jawu breaking down something like fire, the word fire, or cold, right? When you hear the word fire, the first thing you think is it must be dope, or that must be what's up. When you hear fire coming from one of us. But if you say fire around somebody else outside of our culture, they thinking that something burning up. Or if you hear that's cold, you know that's got to be hard. You see what I'm saying? Like we take these words and we give them more meanings than the definition. So it's just like, so when we sit down and we do these things, man, and you start seeing the translating and what this means and this practice and all of these things, they can't catch that. They can't catch that. And for the record, Jade is the only person that I know that wears a fanny pack, bifocals, and Jesus flip flops everywhere she goes. That is for the record.
Oh,
Yeah, man, stay away from the quote unquote European babaluos. I wouldn't dare do it. I mean, I stopped reading a book. I ain't gonna tell y'all who recommended me the book, but I stopped reading a book.
man. So
Hey,
I
listen. Listen. Hit dog holler.
did.
Hit dog holler.
Whatever.
Jay, you the only one with them Velcro sneakers from Walmart. We caught you in there. We seen you doing your live stream, Jay. Stop it. With them Payless shacks on with them shacks. You had on some shacks when you was hooping, and then you switched up to the Jesus sandals. But no, man, do not. I'm not dealing with no European Babalu house. Period. That's fraudish. And you'll hear Hebrews argue about Europeans being Babaluos. Like, who validated that? Who consented that? I mean, what rites of passage and initiations have they actually truly gone through? Just because they got permission to speak on a few things, they don't have all the knowledge. They don't have everything in these spiritual systems. We can see that in their writings because they feel like once they become a certain statute, that they don't have to have your permission to write about these things. So when they write about these things, we don't see that. She should have some off sketches. Yo,
Yeah,
Jay tripping. But yeah, let me be quiet, man. Kofi trying to close out, y'all.
yeah, man. But again, these are my references up here. If y'all can still see them, y'all still see them, or it's still on Sean Avatar. Um, I'm behind. I don't know what the hell. Maybe like can they still? Yeah, they still. These my references right here. A lot of references. I may do a part two on it, like I say, and go more into the plants, because the plants are the central plays a central key role in this into spiritual system. So I may do a part two. I don't know. I may do a part two, but these are my sources. You can get these. Go through the sources yourself, vet the sources. You know what I'm saying, or go through and read the sources for yourself. Um, Again, please subscribe to the channels. Please subscribe to the Seshuma Ani Metaneta channel. That is a group that I am part of. Sean is a part of. We are like-minded individuals who are aspiring to be, excuse me, scribes who are studying the language, which is the Ronnie Kemet, and the writing script, which is called the Seshuma Metaneta, which y'all know as the hieroglyphs. Please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have multiple information, a lot of information on there where we're translating and transliterating and translating glyphs. Also go to our Facebook page. Also go to our website, which is also the Seshuma Ani Metanetra, www.seshumaani Please go and subscribe to Kofi Potside TV. It is the Black Netflix. It is the channel that takes the black man, black woman, and black child, Eurocentric mind, and Africanize it. So please go subscribe to that channel. If you missed the if you missed the presentation last week, please go and check that presentation out I did last week on the channel. Queen Warrior Maho Musa. Go check that presentation out. Wasn't a long presentation at all. But also go support the Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. If you're on here now, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so when we go live, you will get that notification. Also go to our Mossi Warrior Clan like page on YouTube, not YouTube, but Facebook, and hit the like bell. We have a lot and lots of information dealing with African culture, tradition, and history on that like page. I think you all will enjoy it. Um, that's it, man. Just please support, subscribe. Um, that's it, man. Again, we appreciate y'all. Y'all could have been doing anything else with y'all time, but y'all came out to support me and brother Sean, or support the Mossi Warrior clan. So we truly appreciate it. Again, go tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about these great platforms. Again, it's Seshima Ani Metal Nature, YouTube channel, Kofi Piesie TV YouTube channel, Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Support. Support. I got my darn slides. It is all out of whack. Um, and on that note, man, I gotta get ready to go to the movies. So again, appreciate y'all. Sean, I want to holler at you real quick before when I shut the show down, man. I'll run something by you real quick. Um, but again, like I said, appreciate y'all support, man. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see y'all next week. And if you got any more questions, you know what I'm saying, feel free to just put them in the box. We try our best to try to go back. I'm slipping. I done said this before, and trying to do better. It started doing better, but it started back slipping again. If you put any questions in here afterwards, we're going to try to start going back and looking back in the chats, and even looking at what you put in the other box on here, whether you have questions or not. I know a lot of times we don't go back and do that, and y'all questions are being unanswered. Maybe one day we might have to do what Brother Ben does when he does a question and answer, specifically for him. But maybe we have to do one specifically for the Mossi, where y'all can ask us questions about anything dealing with some of these numerous of topics that we have been that we have presented. But on that note,
Hey,
uh,
hold on before you hit play. So I was talking to Ben earlier today, right?
mm,
Ben told me that is an Orisha, an earth Orisha. And I forget his name. It slipped my mind real quick. So I'm gonna try to be real quick. So it's an earth Orisha, and a ritual that's like 20 some days long. And he said that this Orisha uses a machete to rid away evilness, and also chases and hunts witches. So for all of you sisters and brothers that may come to the end of this video and are listening to this right now, there are deities that despise witches. There are rituals that despise witches. So stop trying to incorporate that witch energy into your Orisha worship and or other traditional African systems, because it does not belong to us. And on that note, it's on you.
all right. Well, we out of here. I got one more thing for the family. Black African power, family. Fields are flying and pseudos are crying. See y'all next week. How do you think your answer is going to be? You think they paid a fair price? Or did they take it and took everything else? History is a clock that people use to tell their political and cultural time of day. It is also a compass that people use to find themselves on the map of human geography. History tells of people where they have been, what they have been, where they are, and what they are. Like a warrior. Walk like a warrior. Okay. Walk like a warrior. Walk like a warrior. I ain't talking about no gangster. I ain't talking about no gangster. Oh shoot. Jay said donate to getting Sean some Reebok. GoFundMe.
We still live or you cut off?
No, we still alive. I'm finna cut it out now.
Okay.